All right, hey folks, welcome back. So we're gonna finish up the Handicraft Lodge. I had a few things that I wanted to focus on, and I want to show you some few things that I did. Uh, not streaming or recording, just because they were kind of tedious, and it would have been probably exceedingly boring for everybody. So yeah, first thing you'll notice perhaps is that the door has a doorknob, and we also have a little hasp and a latch right here. Um, this is, of course, pretty true to the door right here. Um, you know, there was a lock on it. You basically put a padlock on it. And the doorknob was on, one door on both sides. So if we go in here, we'll actually see that we have another doorknob right there. It is black, so I might have to maybe update that to make it gold, because I'm pretty sure it was gold. So, a couple other things that I did. I added some electrical boxes, and I put this really cool photo in here that I actually got off the internet. Found a photo. I even put the plastic covering over the meter, and you can see it kind of is a little bit larger than this cylinder, and it does have a little bit of opacity here, so you can see through it, some translucentness. So that's a fun touch. So what I found is that there's actually three electrical boxes. The first one looks very old, and it's literally just a wire right here, and it kind of runs down and then goes to the ground. And then the second one is this meter, which would be from the county or whatever. And then this third one is probably a breaker of some kind. And so, yeah, if we look at that, you can see that we have a pretty good uh, one for one here. I even put a little bit of texture on this breaker box. I added this little like lip thing on the top, and then yeah, so it looks pretty good. You can see we have these two pipes coming down with these like little O-ring things that kind of like adhere to the wall, so that's a big detail. And you'll see that this wire comes up, this pipe comes up, and then it kind of turns into an actual electrical wire, which goes probably to the admin building, I would assume. Um, I might have to look into that. So, let's see, a couple other things. I added a little piece of metal right there because there was something right up top, and then made sure the mat was red so we can see it matches that. I bought this, or I didn't purchase. I downloaded this mat off of Polyhaven, I think, and so it was yellow, and I actually edited it's called a GLB file, and then I updated the color to be red, so I know how to do that now. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, one more thing, I did add some plywood up here on the inside of the roof, because if we look at this, we actually do see a little bit of wood kind of coming out, which I'm pretty sure this is wood. I'm assuming it is, but and I did add a little bit of a dark tint to it. It was a lot brighter, so I want to do one more thing. Let's add a light up here, and then a little sign here that says Handicraft Lodge. So we're gonna go ahead and make the sign, and I kind of got it started. I actually took a screenshot or I took a little snippet of the actual Handicraft Lodge, and we're just gonna use this because we want to get the exact reference size. So we're gonna try to match the uh, font here, and it's all in white lettering. So we're gonna make it white, change the opacity to 0, and then we probably want to scrunch these up a little bit. So let's see, that'll work better. I think what we might have to do is actually elongate a little bit and then scrunch it. So actually, if I do that, and then I cut it, paste it, and we actually make the lettering longer and shorter. Yeah, looks like we can. So that's probably what we'll have to do. Something like that. So I think we'll go ahead and put down Handicraft. Let me make this a little smaller. More yet. Handicraft. And then we move that. And then we can edit this way. And just keep doing it. Yeah, something like that. It's pretty good. And then let's add another layer and drop down at Lodge. Do the same thing. Basically make this really big text. Okay, there we go. So then all I have to do is hide that. And then we'll make another layer. And we're going to put this brown sort of like coloring. I think it's brown. Pretty sure it's brown. And I want to actually confirm that we have the right color. So we're going to go into our Handicraft Lodge and let's see what this brown is here. Let me open up our layer. It's triangular wall. And let's look at details. And you can see where this material is. Looks like wood sign. So we already have this wood sign. That's fine. Let's we should probably get the color actually because we're going to make a new material. So let's open up this material instance and then see what this color is. I'll drag this over. So this color is pretty dark, but might be black even. Let's take a look. No, it's not quite black. There we go. Let's grab that color because we need to match that. And then we copied the hex, so then we just have to come here and let's put the hex in there. Oh, just do an F. I don't like that. All Fs. Let's copy the hex again. Copy that. And come in here. Huh. Doesn't like that. Why is it forcing that to be white? Yeah, it's really odd. It's just forcing it to white. What if this value is not what we think it is? Let's copy this out. Go to our notes. And I'm just going to type this manually in paint.net. Oh, I see. I have to deselect. No, maybe not. Still doesn't like that. Okay, where did I put that? Okay, 2 B 1 F 0 E F F. It's just halting back to that. 2B 1F 0E. Huh. That's really weird. Um, I do not understand that. All right, we'll make our own brown. That's okay. Okay, and I'm just gonna put that in like that. And let's make this just a little darker. Very dark brown. Okay, and then we're gonna get rid of our original background. And we're just gonna merge all these together. Oops. We're gonna merge all these together. And then let's make some adjustments. Let's add a slight blur just to clean it up without actually doing any cleanup. Okay, and then we're going to save that. We're going to call it just handicraft sign. And then we got our content drawer. We can duplicate this material instance. I'll call this handicraft sign. Let's see if we have uh, our tiling. Okay, it doesn't look like we have any of that. This is the old material instance, so let's just delete that. We need to be able to upload basically a photo. And I believe we have our base material right here, and this one was much better. So we'll create our material instance. We'll call this Handicraft Lodge Sign Material Instance. And then details. And then we're going to upload our photo here. We need to actually let's move this into Handicraft Lodge Materials just because it'd be much easier to manage it. Materials, move here. Okay, and then at the same time, we're going to import that sign that we just made. It's in TMP, SPSR, and Handicraft Lodge. All right, so there's that. Now we just have to upload that to the albedo. And then let's get rid of normal. And let's add a little bit of roughness so it's not too shiny. And we'll give it just a little bit of dirt. Take that brightness down. Okay, save that. And then we should be able to just make a little little box thing. Bring a box in. That's a very little box. And let's make the height 25, depth 25. Rotate it this way, that way. Let's go 40 by 7. We probably want to get this the same ratio as this. which is going to be 500 by 375, judging by this size. So that's 500 divided by 375. So perimeter ratio is 1.33, so 1 1/3, which means, let's maybe see. We can match this. Basically, it's like, I don't know, one size. That's probably a good size there, at least for the length. So the length is basically 70 here, and the depth is 40. So is that 1 1/3? 70 divided by 40, 1.75. So the height needs to be a little lower. The depth is what we have here. What do we divide by? 1.3. 70 divided by 1.3. And this should be 53.84. I think my math is correct. We will find out. All right, so then we just accept this, and then we just have to drop our Handicraft Lodge sign material right on that. And don't fret, because we should be able to change the tiling with one of these parameters. So we're going to do UV tiling, UV offset, and then rotation. So rotation definitely is going to be 90 degrees. Actually, probably minus 90. All right, and then our tiling, let's go 2 and 2. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, that's the wrong direction. Let's go 0.5, 0.5. And that's too much. So let's try 0.8, 0.8. It's a little better. Let's change the UV offset. And we'll do this UV offset because we want that to be perfect. Okay, so now we should be able to just do our UV tiling and get this exactly how we want. And we want the view offset here. We just need it to be centered, so we'll do a little wider in the U. Move that over. Just like that. There we go. I wonder if we can make this just a little bit smaller without updating any of the... Yeah, we can. Nice. Didn't want the letters to be scrunched up. But there we go. I think that's great. I'm really proud of that. Let's just do a side by side. Nice. Handicraft Lodge has been a really good project for me to kind of learn some detail stuff. And I think it's really coming together. I have yet to figure out how to do strings, basically, or wires. You can kind of see there's no wires over here on the left side, peeking out of these boxes. But figured out how to do doors. These doors are still a little bit janky. I have to fix them, see how they kind of get stuck a little bit. And now they're bent. But I figured out how to basically append additional components to doors. See those the latch and the hasp are both connected to each door independently, or two different doors. So I figured that out. Did learn how to do some grouping, put the doorknob on there so it's tied to the door's physics as well. The next thing I want to do is figure out how to lock the door so that they don't move. And I may just have to swap out the door and make it stationary, and then also put a fake lock on it. Because I don't think I can do this with physics, or if I can, it's a little more beyond my scope of knowledge here. Yeah, okay, so that's all I wanted to do today for the Handicraft Lodge. So let's get that a save. And I found out a new technique for grouping all of the Handicraft Lodge stuff together into one level instance, which I've done, multiple times here to show you how to make like cookie cutter, um, buildings and then put them into, something that I can drop into SPSR. And so to do this, I'm going to do a top down, and I can literally just select all this, and it's going to grab everything within this selection as well as the floor. And I don't want the floor, so all I have to do is go to Outliner and we'll see everything that's selected, and I just need to remove the floor by hitting Control click, and you can see the floor is now deselected. And so now I should be able to just take this and create a level instance from it. So I go level, create level instance, and we're already in health, oops, that's Health Lodge. We need to go to Handicraft Lodge. And we can see we have 3 Handicraft Lodges, so I'm just going to make this the latest, and this is version 4. We hit save, and that way, whenever I'm in any other world, like SPSR, I can just come in here, and I can just drop down a whole new Handicraft Lodge by going to Content Drawer, Handicraft Lodge, Handicraft Lodge 4, just placing it down. And I don't see it. I wonder why I don't see it. Is it hiding? No, it's not hiding. Really small. No, I don't know. Handicraft Lodge, Handicraft Lodge. It could be that it doesn't like 2 of the same ones. Because that's that one. This one is this one. Hmm. Where did it go? Oh, is that it down there? What is this? Oh, that's the fog. Okay. All right, so maybe I spoke a little bit too soon. I don't know where it went. Yeah, not quite sure. But it'll definitely well, maybe I should hold my tongue. I think it might work once we put it in SPSR. We could probably go check that out. So I'm gonna go ahead and save this. We'll come back to this. We're gonna fix these doors because I want to get a better door, probably like a wooden door or something, um, so that this looks a little bit better. We're gonna add the windows because I don't think we did that yet. So we got to finish that, and then we will officially go place it. Oh, we need to make the awning. So that's the other thing we're gonna do today. But first, let's go check out SPSR because it's been probably a few videos since we've gone in there and added our new buildings. So we're going to open that, give it a second. So I got a really cool bit of information from Ryan Schaefer. He said that the little like pedestal thing on the Handicraft Lodge used to be a display case. Apparently, the staff used to put or the staff had like a coffee pot on that pedestal, and then they had like a display case over it, and it was a like a memorial thing for a scout leader or scoutmaster from uh, Meade, Kansas. So don't know what the backstory is, but I'm sure there's a lot of people that do know, and I'm kind of interested in who that guy was or who that person was, and maybe if we can figure out something about him. Also, Handicraft Lodge, he mentioned, definitely was the trading post and like a concession stand. And then the admin building, or the Handicraft Lodge, or sorry, the trading post that we know of in the newer SPSR groups. It This was the co-op which was more of like a meeting area or like a place for checking in and stuff. So that was one of those things that we were chatting about, I think, at some point. Okay, so this is interesting. This this is the old Handicraft Lodge. It looks like, yeah, because I don't have these boxes here. We could see that the plane is right here, the floor that was in one of the level instances with here. So let's make sure we get that removed. So if we click that, we should be able to just delete it all. And there it is, it's gone. So we'll go into our content drawer and just drag our latest Handicraft Lodge. And look at that. There's no Handicraft Lodge. If I zoom out to it, can we go find it? Oh wow. Let's zoom out a bunch. You know what I think it did? It probably grabbed that level instance, probably grabbed like everything in there that I think we probably grabbed too much, basically. So we're gonna have to go fix that. Also, I'm realizing that whenever you have this world unlit, like as I do, because right now it's unlit, there's no shadows, it actually runs like considerably better. Um, and in fact, should still run really good whenever I press play. Because there's no calculations, there's no graphical calculations for the casting of the shadows. And I think whenever I play this, it's actually going to start up in lit. So I think I need to click unlit, and it'll do the same thing. My frame rate will be much better. Yeah, see, that's much better. So, we still have grass rendering, but it's moving. There's just no shadows, so that's fine. I think whenever I add stuff to this world, I'm probably going to test this um, with unlit, just because the frame rate is much better. In fact, if we open up our uh, console command, um, we can do stats FPS. And we can see our frames per second here is topping out around 25, um, at least in the building. If we look up at the mountain, it drops to 7 or 8. But if we look away, then it gets much better. So there's our door. I'm very proud of that door. We'll come back to it. Um, yeah, so I'm pretty happy with the frame rate here, and this is probably going to give us an ability to actually do some more landscape sculpting, which is something that I really want to start doing more of, and then adding, more trees and shrubs and stuff, because that's going to add a lot more familiar character that we have with Speaker, and I can do a lot more at once, I think, than waiting for my PC. So, um, all right, uh, let's jump back to the. Let me save this world first. Sorry, let's jump back to the handicraft world. I think I call it doors, which I should probably rename it and call it just buildings, because now it's becoming more of a buildings level where I can do a lot more fine-grained control of what the buildings look like. So let's jump back over to that and let's see why our handicraft lodge uh, did not actually show up. So let's go levels and maybe it's buildings. Yeah, doors. Okay. So we'll go into here. And of course it's unlit. And there's our stuff. So let's see. I had the perspective of top and I grab all these. Um, let's break this out. Break level instance so that we can grab everything that we want. So that's going to be all that. Let's just make sure we're not grabbing more than we want. So yeah, the floor I think is the only thing Uh, let's scroll down here because there may be more. Player start, wall, sky sphere. That's what we don't want. The sky sphere. I think that's what was causing problems. I think that's it. And just to make sure everything is going to work, let's group this. And then let's hide it. So it looks like that's all there. In fact, we can go a little closer. And I think those are just the physical constraints, so that's fine. But I think this group looks good. See, there's nothing else left. And then we'll go group actor. And I think this is what I did initially was I made it a group actor. So let's verify. Buildings, Handicraft Lodge. Let's overwrite Handicraft Lodge 4. And then we will open our SPSR level. And let's try this again. Then after that, we'll come back to this and we will finish the awning for the Health Lodge. Okay. Moment of truth. Let's make sure I know what I'm doing. So content drawer. Oh, it's finishing texturing. Give it a second. Okay. And Handicraft Lodge 4. We're going to drop that right there. And there we go. That was it. So I just grabbed the sky sphere accidentally last time I saved that. So I think what I'll do is just continue making these group actors just in case. So yeah, let's just drop this down. And that looks pretty good. Probably move it just slightly to the right. Like that. And let's do that maybe there. Back. Okay. And let's move our player. And actually, I think I'm going to delete this player start because that'll allow me to just play the game exactly where my camera's at, I'm pretty sure. Let's see if that'll work actually. It's probably going to jump into lit. There's probably a setting we can turn on to where it doesn't have lit the whole time because now, frame rate drops to 1. So let's go back to unlit. And we have our Handicraft Lodge in the world. And if I smooth this out a little bit, that's going to look really good. And these doors should work like what we expect. Might have to push them a little harder, but there we go. And we are in the Handicraft Lodge. Looks like I'll need to edit this this ground here. That's no problem. And, so that's cool. I think that's a perfect spot for it, actually. That looks very accurate from what I remember. Right here, if you remember, was like a little flagpole. That's where staff would line up prior to closing flags and closing, campfire. And we would line up back here. We'd sometimes come all the way back here with our lineup. And we'd all have this cadence march where we basically, chant all the way up, all the way up to closing flags. And then, the scouts could hear us as we were approaching, and so that was fun. Yeah, so basically what I was trying to say was the flagpole up here, I'll have to build a little, flagpole thing. So, all right, that is awesome. I think this Handicraft Lodge is really coming together, and I'm very happy with it. So, we're going to leave that there, and let's jump back over to our level for buildings, which I'm going to rename to buildings if I don't forget. So let's save this. Let's go add some extra details to our Handicraft Lodge, or sorry, our Health Lodge. That's what it looks like now. And we go to content drawer. I'm going to rename this level real quick. So that's speaker content, buildings, door, and we're going to rename this to buildings. And I'm realizing otherwise assets can be missing from cooked builds. Okay, I don't have any cooked builds, I'm pretty sure. So we're going to move this to buildings. We're going to go into buildings, and then yes, so this is our buildings. And I think the level will be in buildings, but then we'll save the level instance in the actual folder along with any materials or like additional components that we use. So I think that's the game plan here. So let's open up buildings. Let's just verify that nothing is screwed up with the update change that we just did. And it looks like everything's still here. So let's go ahead and move this guy out here so we can start managing him independently. Oh, and I was thinking the other day that I think the very first game that I'll just give to everyone to play, because it's going to be very low resource intense, is literally just the buildings level where you can run around on this platform and play like the buildings and like walk through them and just discover them, look for details and stuff. So I feel like it's a pretty easy thing to do, and that'll give me my first pass at actually making this a shippable, playable game with a character and everything. And it'll give some people the opportunity to do some level testing and quality testing to feed and give me feedback. So a lot of benefits from that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to break this level apart. So break and then break level instance. And this is a group actor, so I'm also going to ungroup it all. That way I can select everything individually and start editing it. So this was Health Lodge 3. I just want to verify there wasn't another Health Lodge. Okay, so 3 is the current version, so that's fine. Let's first update the doors and then the windows, and then we'll do the awning as well, like the patio. So I think the doors, let's go reference a photo that we have of the Health Lodge. This is going to be this one. And let's take a look. And these doors were screen doors, and then there was like a wooden door, I think, in the inside bit. So let's only do one door because I don't think we're quite ready for 2 doors. I don't think the mechanics of that are going to be very easy. So I'm thinking let's maybe do a screen door. I think that's probably something that's pretty attainable, and we can go ahead and build this out. I think I have the tools to do this, so we're going to do basically the same door because it looks like the screen door is pretty much the same thing on both sides. Um, and this building is really fun for me because, of course, it doesn't exist anymore. It was, destroyed. But I think I really like trying to get very detailed with this building. So we're gonna do the doors here, and we're gonna try to mimic this, you know, this size of door with the screen basically halfway. Um, so let's go do that. Um, what I'm probably gonna do is see if I can edit this existing asset. So let's go view what this asset is. So this is just a door. And where does it live as a mesh? Let's see. Physics door. Door, door. Okay, so here's where the door lives. Let's update this door. We're going to duplicate it. I'm going to call this Health Lodge door. And we're going to open it. And we can now see this door here. I think this door also has, yes, it does. It has this prop material. So what does this prop material look like? Is this what is actually driving basically the visual of this door? And it does have, let's see, yes, it does have a texture sample here. So I'm wondering if we can just update this texture sample. And this is a starter door. So what does this texture sample look like? It is a DXT, so I don't know what that is. But I'm wondering if we can just make our own texture sample. Uh, find in Show and Explorer. Let's see where this lives. And can we open this up in paint.net? Let's take a look. Open with paint.net just once. Let's see if paint.net is okay. Paint.net does not like that format. So what format is this in? It's in a U asset file. Okay. And then we also have this glass. So there's these two material slots. So that's interesting. We may have to just build our own door. Because there's also this normal that comes with it. So we may have to build our own door. No worries. I think we know how to do that. So can we just extract this door? And we knew where the mesh was. Yeah, it was definitely this one. It'd be nice if I could just edit the mesh directly, because this is editing the I think this is editing the asset, but I want to edit the like physical properties, not like the details. Uh, Import mesh. What does that do? Not sure. Yeah, I think this is just for collision. And I also don't see what the size is, so we may have to just do this manually. Yeah, so we'll just do this manually. So jumping back into our world, let's create a new modeling mesh. Create a box. We'll bump this up to 10. Change my fly around to 1. See how close we got. 210 is like perfect. Maybe not. Maybe 215. Okay, 212. 213. There we go. 213. And then let's change the depth to 60, 70, 80. 95 by 90. That's pretty good. 90 by 213. We could probably go even just a little bit shorter. 89. Or actually, no, this was 90. Let's do 212. Well, maybe not 212. Okay, accept that. And it's pretty thin, so I'm just going to thicken it up a little bit. About like that. And then I have some plywood that we're going to add to this. So we'll go to our content drawer. And don't remember where I put it, but it's in here somewhere. So here it is. We're just going to drop that on there. I think this is going to be our starter door material because the Health Lodge looks very plywoody. We might add these panels here, these white panels, just to give it a little more texture. But then we also need this screen material. So let's go find some screen material in the fab. So screen, loading screen, yeah. It's gonna be a lot of this. Let's do materials. Okay, how about mesh? And I'm probably gonna get a lot of weird textures. Uh, metal, mesh, metal grill, scratch metal. This one might be kind of hard to find. We could make it just like a see-through, just for now. Not a mesh, but just like a glass see-through. I think that might be better. That might make more sense. Okay, so we have the right door size. Let's move this over. This door. How did we? Let me grab this door. There we go. I think that's it. Let's move this over here just as reference, and then we'll put this door right there. Let's move it a little bit to the left. And it's pretty good. All right, let's add a doorknob. So we definitely had a doorknob that I downloaded. Let me go find it. There it is. Just drag it into the world. And like I said, um, this like material that's on here is not my favorite, so we should probably update it. And honestly, it might not even have a doorknob on the screen doors. It might just be handles, and that's going to make this a lot easier. Let's go find that because that makes more sense. Door handle. And then we want just literally like a handle, not the something like this is great. But we don't want like a lever. We just want like a little hold. Yeah, I think that's fine. This one seems a little too, like, it's a cabinet handle. Let's see what other handles we have. What does this look like? It's not what we want. This handle's okay, a little thin. We could also make our own handle just by putting together polygons. We'll do this one for now. We may update it someday, but today's not that day. Static mesh, and of course, it's literally like taking over the whole entire view. Like, what? I don't even know where I'm at. Just need to make this small. Jeez, that was annoying. Okay, and how big is this? Looks like it's very small now. Let's just make it a little bigger. Where'd it go? Okay, now it is completely gone. I don't know where it went. Luckily, we have the outliner. Uh, where the heck is it? What is it called? Handle? I don't even know what it's called. Scene. Well, some of these are just called scene, which is really odd. Okay, there it is. Let's go to details and manually override this scale size. All right, that is really weird. It's all scaled incorrectly. I'm just going to delete that. I'm going to bring it back in, and it's going to be huge. That's okay. We can bring it down to size. There we go. Do 0.05 to 9. Okay, definitely do 1. About 2. All right, 3's got to be it. Yeah, we'll get rid of that. This in. And for the door handle, it's kind of low, so we'll keep it a little lower, like maybe right there, because we do need to put that screen door. And then we're just going to Alt drag, and then we're going to rotate it by 180 so that we can have a duplicate. Just put that into place so that they're right on opposite sides of each other. Just like that. Okay, and I realize we could probably light this up, so I'm going to make this lit. And you can see what this looks like in the real world light. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of lag there, so let's keep that lit. And now we need to cut out a hole for the screen door portion of it. So it's just going to be sort of this rectangle. And we know how to do that with our um, with polycut. And we'll change from a circle default to a rectangle. We're going to trim inside. And then we will rotate this by 90. And then move it up. And I am getting really good at polycut. I'm very happy with my progress. Oh, my girlfriend's calling me, so I'm going to pause and talk to her for a bit, and then I'll be back on to finish these doors. So I'll see you in a little bit. All right, we are back. Sorry for taking so long there. Was definitely a little preoccupied. Okay, so let's just finish up this door and then I think I'm gonna call it a night because it is getting pretty late. So, yes, I'm just gonna put this little cutout area into this polycut into where the hole is for this door. Let's just remind ourselves what this door looks like. And it looks like the handle's pretty low, like pretty stinking low. So we're gonna have more than half be a cutout, and then the handle's gonna be right below probably the half. So let's just make sure the handle's in a good spot. So before we cut that, I'm gonna move the handle down, like right there. Maybe a little bit more to the right. And now we'll do the polycut. So let's click our door, polycut, and we will rotate this by 90 and we'll move it up. And we want to leave a little room at the top to maintain, you know, some structure. So let's move it down just a little bit. And then we want to make this width. No, we want to make the height a little bit wider. So let's go 67, maybe 75. Okay, let's try 85. All right, that's pretty good. And then let's make the height just a little bit taller, which is actually our width because we're backwards here. But see, like 120. Move it down. Okay, so that's a little bit too much. Do 110. Put it up. I think that's pretty good. Yeah, I think that'll work. So let's accept that. And we need to fill in this door. Because you see, let me move this out of the way. If we look at this door here, we'll see that the outside looks fine, but the inside, we can see that we're actually missing a piece and it looks like it's see-through, basically. So to fix that, I actually did some research earlier. To fix that, we're going to have to fill in this area. And to do that, we'll go to Poly Group Edit, and we will click these vertices, basically. I think it's these vertices. And then we need to do what's called a bridge. And maybe it's not the vertices, but it's probably the edges. So let's click, no, not that one. Let's click this one and this one. And then let's try bridge. And see that? We just made a face there that now has a closed face, right? So we're going to do that on the other 4 segments. So polygroup edit, we'll click this line and this line, and then we're basically going to make a corner right here. So we'll hit bridge, and it's basically making a corner. And then we'll do the same with these 2 lines. So that's this one and this one. We'll hit bridge, accept. We can see it's starting to fill in with our material that we put on. Then we'll do the final one up here. So polygroup. We'll do this one and this one. Then bridge. Accept. Oh, and it looks like we have another one right here, which is actually a polygon. That's why it looks like a triangle. So we need to find that triangle edge, and that's right here. And then the outer edge, which is right there. And then bridge. And that's going to create our final spot. And maybe I didn't select that. Yeah, let me try selecting that again. And then bridge. Didn't work. Let's see. Make sure I'm getting the right ones. What the heck? Let's try that one. Oh, I might have to do all three. Oh, it's not bridge. It's fill hole. Yeah, there we go. Because we had all the bridges in place. We just had to fill that hole. So that's what happens whenever we do a plane cut. So we're gonna have to keep track of that for future polys that we make. So we have that filled. Now let's just put in a little bit of glass. So we're gonna do another create, and we're gonna do a box, and then we're gonna have to shrink this box, and then we'll rotate it 90 degrees. We'll just put it into place. I have to line this up in the middle, about right there. And let's make the width just a little bit bigger. That's too big. Let's do 3. And this is literally just going to be a piece of glass. And I think it's fine if it's like really big because it's just going to be see-through. And we just want a little bit of overlap. Something like that. And so let's do depth at 120. All right, how about 130? Let's do 135. There we go. And then the height will be maybe 90. Okay, a little too much. 85. Let's do 87. There we go. So now we have that covered. Oh, that height is too much, but we can probably just move it down. Yeah, I think that's fine. And let's just center it ever so slightly that way. All right, let's accept that. So that's going to create a box. Now we just need to put glass on it, and we have our material slot here. And so I actually made a glass earlier with the electrical meter that was on the Handicraft Lodge. So I'm going to go find that in our Handicraft folder. So Handicraft Lodge materials. And we have the electric meter. Okay, I don't see it. So it's probably going to be in the root directory and then materials. Yes, it is. So electric meter clear. So let's do that. Let's just drop that on there. And there we go. We can see a little bit of transparency in that. Our handle on this side is a little too high, so let's just delete that, and we'll go grab this existing handle, and we'll do an alt drag, and then rotate 180, just so that we're on the same plane. That's why I duplicated. And just barely put it in the position there. Wonder how this looks if we just go all the way in. We just have, yeah, it doesn't look as good. Yeah, we'll leave it like that. And let me just barely pull this one out. Okay. Alright, so I think this door is pretty much done. So I'm going to actually grab everything in this poly. So we're going to need the box. I need the handles. And then we're going to need the inside box. I need to make sure that I have that picked. Scene, scene, scene. That's all of it. Actually, what is that third scene? I'm not sure what that third scene is. Oh, let me change that filter. Okay, now we should be able to see that. Scene, scene. I don't know what that third scene is. Where's that at? We should be selecting that somewhere. Okay, that is the hospital bed. I'm gonna change that name because that is gonna really confuse me. Examination bed, I think is what it was called. All right, so I'm gonna select box 1, box 12, and then we also need that handle and this handle. And then we're gonna go to model. Sorry, we're gonna go to Xform, and we're gonna hit merge. And this is literally just gonna merge all of these polys together, all these static meshes together. That way they move as a unit. And then we're going to change this name combined to Health Lodge Door 1. That way we can actually change this door in the blueprint. I'm going to save everything real quick. So in our blueprint, I think it's going to be this is the Handicraft blueprint that I was making for the doors in the Handicraft Lodge. I think I want to make a brand new blueprint. So we're going to do that. We're going to make a brand new blueprint and we're going to put it in the Health Lodge. And we're going to call this blueprint class, an actor, and it's going to be Health Lodge door. And if we open this up, we're going to have a viewer here. And what we can do is go ahead and bring in our static mesh. We're going to change this mesh to Handicraft, Health Lodge, rather. Health Lodge door. We can see it's going to bring that door into the world, and I think that's the wrong door. Health Lodge door. Oh, it should be Health Lodge door 1, right? Gotta be in here somewhere. Let's type door 1. No, I don't know where that went. Let's go back to this. Make sure Health Lodge door. Let's make sure we have. Oh, I see. It's not the actual name of the poly that we made. We need to change that here too. And here's that poly. And I want to hit rename. We're going to say Health Lodge Door 1. That way, we can change it in our blueprint here. And we're going to take our static mesh and switch it over to Health Lodge Door 1. And we'll move that up. And then we also need a door frame. And so I'm going to add a door frame. We're going to call it static mesh. Oh, I see that's selected. Okay, and then static mesh here. Don't want to add it to that. This original one, will change this to Health Lodge door. We'll change this one to Health Lodge door frame. And then in our engine, let's go to wherever this lives, the static mesh. Um, Physics door. Let's see, where's this mesh at? This is a different type of door. I'm not quite sure what this is. There it is. Okay, so let's go find this. Let's duplicate this. We'll call this Health Lodge door frame 1. And let's move this into our Health Lodge. And Health Lodge door frame. And I think I want to change the static or the material for this. I think I want to drop a wood onto it. Let's see what that looks like. That might be fine. And then in our blueprint, let's change this door frame to what we just created, Health Lodge door frame. And let's maybe change the size to make it a little bit smaller because that's way too thick. Something like that would be much better. Okay, and then we're just going to position this door right into the center. And we need to make sure everything lines up same size. So let's just bring that down ever so slightly. That right there. And let's just bring this up a little bit. And let me find just this here. Wrong one. What color is that? That's blue. So I need to go this way. About right there. And let me just move this a little bit more to the left. Oh, wrong way. Right, I meant. Okay. And then we need a physics constraint. And then for this door, we're going to go to the static mesh. And we're going to add a collision. It's going to be add box simplified collision. I think it's probably big enough. And we'll save that. We'll go back to the blueprint, click on the box, enable simulate physics, change this angular damping to 15. And then in our physics constraint, we're going to say limited, locked, locked, and swing we're going to leave on 90. 90. Yes. Then we're going to move the physics constraint this way. Then we're going to rotate it 90. That way we're right over the top, right in the center, and right on the edge. Let's move this just ever so slightly back. That. Okay. And then last thing is we need to change a few collision presets, and then we need to name our physics constraint component name to the door, so that is the item that is actually moving in this constraint, and not the door frame. So that's going to be equal to the name. That has to be exact. And I feel like there was a couple other ones. We need to enable the angular motor. We need to change this to swing. We're going to leave that strength as 50. And we're going to hit compile, save. This is our blueprint class, so let's go drop this down and see how this works. Make sure I did everything right. If not, I'll have to go back and make some tweaks. So let's just put this door down right there. Hit play. Let's go find the door. See if it'll open for us. Yeah, look at that. And it doesn't close. But honestly, I kind of like that. I think that looks a little more natural to me. So let's maybe not make it close for now. And then let's just replace everything we have here and delete all this stuff. And delete that. And we're just going to go put this into place. And what's nice about this is the frame is really what's taking up a lot of the space here. Like it's adding a little padding buffer on the sides, which I really appreciate. We can even shove that up a little bit to where we have some more room on the bottom, because we don't want this door to like slam on the bottom, otherwise it's not going to open. It does look like there's already some overlap on the top, so let's bring that down ever so slightly. Maybe even a little bit less. Change the scale here. How does that look? That looks fine. All right. We should be able to just duplicate this and move it over. Okay. And if we play this, can we walk through there? Yes, we can. It's pretty believable. Definitely not swinging close, but that's fine. If we want to add that later on, we can. But yeah, so wasn't able to get the awning on. We'll probably try to do that next time, but we also need the other windows, but luckily we can reuse some other windows that we have to make some easy ones. But yeah, this is a good first pass. I think we'll add those white panels on here as well, like down here. Looks like maybe there used to be a white panel up there. Same with this. Probably used to look the same, right? So we'll try to add those. Those should be really easy, just to add a little more character rather than this like plywood type stuff. But yeah, nice work. So cool. I'm gonna go ahead and save this as a instance level, and then we'll call it a day. So not the Handicraft Lodge, but the Health Lodge. And then need to undo the floor selection. Definitely don't want to add the Sky Dome, which was something Sky Sphere, which is what we added at one point. Those all are fine. Those are fine. Doctor's chair, coffee table, that's fine, 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 fine. Awesome. All right, let's make that a group actor because that's what I said I'm going to start doing. And then we're going to convert that group actor. Actually, let's hide that real quick. Okay, that's fine. And then let's take the group actor and convert that to a level instance. And then in our buildings folder, we'll go to Health Lodge and let's make a Health Lodge 4. I'm guessing we're probably going to have like at least 10 health lodges because we have a long ways to go with the awning and some benches and windows and maybe better lighting. Eventually, we'll also probably buy like really good assets that will look a lot more realistic for what we want out of this health lodge, but little by little, we'll get there. All right, thanks for joining back. Appreciate it. I'll be uploading this to YouTube as well, and thanks for watching. See you guys later.